So let's talk. Alberta, it's been in a drought for a couple of years and it's been bad. I mean, last fall, the normally smooth flowing creek that bounds my property out by Pritis has been reduced to a trickle. I've never seen anything like it. The reservoirs around the province, they were getting low, and last winter was relatively dry. And if things remain dry, the province could be facing another rough year for agricultural producers and with the forest fires. But things appear to be turning around. According to data actually from Environment and Natural Resources Canada, Alberta's precipitation has been above average since March. Let's look at the numbers. Cumulatively from March 1st until the end of May in 2023, Alberta had 55.6 millimeters of precipitation over those 3 months. So that's not very much for spring. Now this year, from March 1st until May 20th was when I took the last update from it, Alberta's had 145 millimeters of precipitation, and there were still 11 days left to go, and they're raining right now. So precipitation's on track to have tripled in the last 3 months versus last year. Now, when we were even talking about it back then, when the snow and rains began in March, the doomsayers were quick to warn us it's just a one-off, But when the precipitation continued into April, the climate hysterics point out this needs to be sustained, though, to moisturize the ground. It's not fixing anything. Well, as the rains kept falling into May, they're now howling that the reservoirs are still below average capacity. Is it ever enough? Will the climate alarmists ever be able to bring themselves to celebrate good weather? No, actually, they can't. Because climate alarmists are cultists. They've wrapped their world around the perception that they're always living in a state of emergency, and they enjoy it. It makes them feel that they're special and they're living in singular times. It's no coincidence that climate alarmists tend to be the same ones who never wanted the COVID-19 state of emergency to end. I mean, you can still see them today. They're walking around with their masks or driving alone with them if they have a car. Politicians, they're on a different purpose. They still love using the climate alarmism to impose restrictive policies. Calgary Mayor Yoti Gondek declared a climate emergency as soon as she took office. She then proposed an insane $87 billion plan to deal with it for a city. Strangely, the cure for climate change is always some form of high-spending socialism. It's almost as if socialists are trying to use the perception of emergencies as a means to impose their ideology, since the democratic efforts to impose it aren't working fast enough. Now, last weekend I had to make a quick trip out to the mountains to take care of some business, and I couldn't help but notice how high the streams and rivers are right now. I was also happy to see there's still a lot of heavy snowpack remaining on top of the mountains. This means the melt that's going to be coming in June is going to continue to fill Alberta's reservoirs with the runoff all the way out to Saskatchewan. And I posted a picture of those mountains on X, and I celebrated what appeared to be weather patterns shifting away from a drought. It was just a positive and happy posting. Well, the response I got was swift and visceral. Climate alarmists were furious that I dared to question the state of emergency with mere anecdotal evidence. When I posted the data proving my assertions were based on more than just my observations on a drive, they howled that I'm not an expert or a scientist. It should be noted that the experts and scientists were predicting a hot, dry spring in Alberta, so they missed that mark rather dramatically. In reality, weather forecasters can't predict the weather very accurately beyond a couple of weeks. They can make broad, long-term speculations, but as we can see this year, those tend not to be much more accurate than what you would get from shaking a magic 8-ball or asking a groundhog on February 2nd. Now, Canada might be in for years of drought, years of flooding, or years of moderate weather. I don't know, and I'll tell you what, the experts don't bloody well know either. And thanks to the massive size of the country, alarmists can cherry-pick the regions to try and make their case while ignoring weather predictions that were inaccurate in other areas. Alberta isn't poised to be needing severe water use restrictions, even though we were warned dramatically constantly of this for the last couple of months. And the spring wildfire season, it appears to have already come to an end. Soil's hydrated, and farmers could be in for some excellent crops this year. We should always plan for the worst, but we can't live in constant fear of it. So dismiss those morose, miserable climate zealots who want to bring us all down with their dire predictions. They're never going to be content. When we get good weather, we should enjoy it and celebrate it. I know I will, at least until I got to mow that ever-growing lawn I've got that's just sprouting up in this drought right now.